Hello, I'm VX and welcome back to this video. So today I want to talk about the brand new version of Minecraft and its world import feature from the Xbox, because this version of the game is coming out very soon officially, but the thing is a lot of my worlds still do not transfer over. I reported them as soon as the game came out and they are still not probably transferring over, but I figured like, oh yeah, well they're old worlds, they've had years of like changes, maybe at some point before they release they'll change them, but this does ask the question, if they're most of the way through this world conversion process, you know, they're like a week plus away from actually like releasing this full update, then how exactly does it work with a brand new world in the best of situations? Like, how smoothly does the world transition from old to new? And in this video, I'm going to be not only showing you this regular world, this is a recent Seed Sunday, I'm going to be showing you an amplified world, and I'm going to be showing you a super flat world, a fairly basic super flat, and I'm going to be showing you how the new world and the old world kind of like intersect in this strange way, because there's never like a smooth transition. Again, they can never really take like an old Minecraft classic world and make it smoothly go into the new worlds, but I want to see just how like rough the transitions can be, as well as, you know, exactly that means. So Minecraft, you know, old Minecraft worlds versus new Minecraft, that's what I'm showing you in today's video. Hopefully you all do enjoy it. You can like this one if you do like it, because it helps out the channel, and let us know you do like these sorts of analysis videos, because again, to me, this is the sort of thing that gets me wildly interested in just like how things so rapidly change. And I think the first thing we're noticing, even though like, again, we can see just over there's some brand new Minecraft lands. It's kind of hard to see the border until you look over there, but if you look on the map, you can see before that even, the map itself is changing. By me just walking any amount in direction, you can see how every part of the map is changing significantly, because the old map from your old Minecraft world transfers over, and the colors transfer over from that world. However, the new color algorithm, you know, it seems to have like different color applied to even the same blocks, seems to be transferring as soon as we walk into the new blocks. So you can see how you have to re-explore your map, and then it will rediscover itself, mostly removing trees, because it looks like there's less density required, and mostly changing the colors of both the water and of pretty much every bit of land. So that's fascinating by itself, but the map isn't what we're here to see. What we're here to see is the border of the world. So again, this is a classic sized world. This is the most dense stuff you can get in a Minecraft world on any console. Again, I really love them, because it means you don't have to have this like 10,000 block walk. Let's see what happens when you get to the edge of this world, and then the infinite world type from Minecraft Pocket Edition / Minecraft Bedrock Edition actually starts to kick in. So as you can see, it's got this just, again, it's kind of like, I was expecting like a surprising wall just at the exact block, but you can see how it kind of just about slowly, smoothly moves in. It's not like an exact concrete wall, but it does kind of like, again, it's like 3 blocks, and then it's right up to the wall it would be. We've got a floating lily pad. Oh, we got multiple floating lily pads. Okay, so official reason to use last week's Seed Sunday and transfer over is because you get to do this. You get to have floating lily pads, impossible otherwise, but they've managed to generate just here at the edge. You can also see my map, by the way, lost its coordinates, which is the saddest thing in the world. But then you can see, yeah, just over here, like, again, the water connects, and it actually happens fairly smoothly. Like, we've had stuff like this where it goes to a literal brick wall, and this is close to a brick wall. You can see how it wants to generate the wall, and the game is just programmed to be like, you know, just make it a subtle wall, and you can see how like there's just a giant like cut out section of a, you know, mountain here, but it looks pretty good all things considered. Like, again, it doesn't look as bad as it could look, and I think that's kind of, you know, interesting that they put this much effort into something like that. And yeah, even though you can see as you walk around here, it's a very, very hard line between the old world and the new world. It kind of looks great when you go from being water to being land, because sometimes that land biome will actually cross over kind of okay. It looks like this is the best crossover we're going to get. This is a plains biome from the old Minecraft world and a plains biome from the new one. So you can see as this happens, like, I mean, there's like a weird bump, because, you know, the plains biome you get on small biome size versus the plains you get on the new Minecraft, they're kind of different, and it still generates just about weirdly, but, you know, they intersect, they look just about okay. If we head further north, you can see how the forest is like almost intersecting too, but then not really. Oh, and also you can see how there's like missing blocks from this tree right here, because again, they had to generate that hard line, and that means if there's like some trees but the leaves on the other side, they'll just cut off the leaves on the other side. So looking over here, we can see something even better looking in my opinion, because we have an old extreme hill intersecting into a new extreme hill, which I just love. The, you know, again, I don't think it's like great looking, but the appearance is just astounding to look at. And then also fascinatingly to me is the fact that we have some high up water, like it's meant to be a lake or something, which therefore turns into this beautiful little waterfall over here. Like there's a waterfall that generates, and you can, this is something you can never get naturally in Minecraft, but you can get it if you just happen to have a lake going over the edge like this. So this is actually kind of wonderful. I think I got a really lucky in terms of like how wacky it is, see that transferred. So sometimes you don't have land at the very edge of your Minecraft console world. This is meant to be an ocean clearly. So the ocean at the edge of my Minecraft console world intersects with that ocean really quite nicely actually. Like you can probably not even tell that something's up there. So I guess that kind of works. But most importantly, let's go to our plains biome. Let's see what happens when the ice turns into something else. So in this, okay, this is where the things get really wacky, because we have our ice biome which fades into a roof forest, which fades into an extreme hill. So Oh, okay, so the ice is just forming in right there. You can see how the ice kind of... Oh, okay, this is the weirdest thing, right? So to intersect the two biomes, it clearly tries to have the old on top of the new, and you end up with stuff like this. We have floating ice on top of the mountain. This is, again, this is fascinating for me to see. I wouldn't have expected anything like this. Still happens, again, in like, after 2 weeks of beta builds, or like 3 weeks of beta builds, I think it is, but you can see how like it ends up looking like this, which is just so strange. I mean, you can see how the algorithm's clearly trying to work there. It's trying to combine the old with the new by just like raising up the old blocks, which means I imagine if you had loads of blocks placed at the edge of your Minecraft world, if you built a lot of blocks there and you did some stuff, you could probably cause some really weird glitches to happen, which is something I kind of want to try out at some point now. But for now, you can see how like, oh yeah, there is some ice that floats maybe a lot higher than it should above the thing, because no one expects blocks to be that high, and if you had blocks even higher up, you'd have this like giant, like, I'm guessing if you placed a lot of blocks here, you'd have them fly into the sky and have something weird happen. So that's a fun experiment to try sometime. You can see how it happens all along the ice spikes biome over here. Or it's not even an ice spikes biome, it's just an ice biome that gets a little bit weird. There's like vines go on there too. Long story short, weird stuff happens when you get pretty much any biome that's non-ocean at the edge of your Minecraft world intersecting into a new thing, where you get stuff like this, where like, how is this even a thing that happens? Like, you look at this and you wonder like, how, whatever. So yeah, as you can see, it's popping up the blocks in a really fascinating way. But besides that, the transition between old Minecraft worlds and new Minecraft worlds seems to be just about fine. It looks like it's just about working. If you have a classic sized world, you can clearly see where the old world begins and the new world ends, so you know you don't have to worry about like building a wall to keep the new Minecraft world out, but you can also see how like, yeah, things are kind of wacky there. But let's move on to the second test we have, because this is just our first test. This is the most common, you know, test, a classic sized world. But what if you have a super flat world? And this is one I was not expecting. So for some reason it takes a while to exit this world, because it's maybe loading in a lot of chunks still. But if we go to our second world, this is a super flat test. So this is the most basic super flat you can get on Minecraft console. It's just villages. I think there's strongholds somewhere. No, there's no strong. Oh wait, there is strongholds. And then there's ravines, just for funniness. And then it's got the regular, you know, 1 layer of grass, 3 layers of dirt, super flat. It's a really plain generic super flat, but then I turned on decorations. But as you can see, even though I turned on decorations and even though I turned super flat, what I was expecting to happen is at the edge of this world, we'd hit the regular world and things would get weird. But weirdly enough, that's not what happens. What happens is at the very edge of your Minecraft world, instead of being like, you know, this super green like it is right now, it's covered in grass and pumpkins and trees and villages. Once we get to the edge of the world, which is a small world, so it's just as we go off the map, you can see how it just goes from being that to being nothing but plain, plain Minecraft grass. And again, admittedly, this actually, you know, this merges together really seamlessly. You can barely spot it, but it's still just like, oh yeah, so if you convert a old super flat world over, admittedly it will go infinite, but there's no reason to want that infinite space. Again, it's perfect for building because there's no stuff on it, but you lose, it essentially converts your super flat over, but it loses the one key thing of like having your actual stuff applied there. So if we had even 1 block higher up or 1 block lower down, I assume it'll just use the pocket edition super flat world as well, which is kind of a shame. And also, if you look at the map, you can see how as we walk around, like if we fly in any direction, we're going to have this exact same thing happen, where we fly in a direction, and all of the, you know, like the grass foliage, which is showing up a dark green, is turning into this light green brand new color. So the other thing I'm interested in is, because I only loaded up half this small world size, is if we go past the loaded chunks, so we keep walking in this direction, will eventually the, you know, the stuff just stop generating? And the answer to that is it looks like yes. So as you go beyond the world that you've explored before, including, it seems like half of a stronghold, so we got like part of a stronghold here, the other half, including the end portals on the other side. Oh, actually, is that the end portal? No, never mind. So the other half, like some of the end, you can clearly see, was meant to go this way, because again, it just kind of, it cuts off at a very specific line right here, and you can cut off half of an abandoned mineshaft or half a stronghold if you make things happen this way, which is, again, kind of fascinating. However, the chests work at least. But then, as you can see, the moment you go beyond the chunks of the world that you're meant to be in, you get from being this like super muddy layered thing of like grass and pumpkins to just being non-stop flat. So I guess that's as good a transition you could hope for. But let's go to the ultimate one now. Let's see what happens when you take an amplified world and you try to transfer over to the brand new version of Minecraft. This is the big one for me, because if you want to have amplified worlds on the Pocket Edition, the brand new version, the only way to get them is to have them on this. So again, they're working on it for 1.3, but we don't know how long 1.3 is going to take. We don't know when it's coming out. So let's show you what happens if you take your console world over. I just generated a classic size super amplified world random seed, random biobs. I just did everything randomly just to see, like, you know what, let's see how the world borders work on this one, because now I know how they work on a regular world. I don't imagine it's going to go well, but, you know, I'm excited. I want to see what happens there. So, also bear in mind, I only amplified half the world, so based on our previous test, we'd expect a random point in the world to go from amplified to non-amplified, and it probably won't be as smooth if it's in the middle of the world. But let's find out first what happens when we go to the edge. So, the edge of this world is entirely surrounded by water, which should make everything a little bit easier in terms of converting from one to the other, because again, you can see amplified worlds look crazy, they're like really big and stuff. Also, because we have a high render distance, our frame rate isn't quite going all the way to 60, it's staying a little bit below, because again, Minecraft, this new edition, isn't quite equipped to handle worlds which get this big. Yeah? So 56 FPS, it's not terrible, but it's like, again, it's not perfect or anything. Yeah, as we go out towards the edge, you can see how it goes into water, which means the transition from new to the old is just perfect, actually, because it goes into water, and then suddenly, if you go any further, it's just boring old land again. So it seems to convert from regular world right into infinite, as if you didn't have amplified, because I guess there's no flag for that, which I mean, it makes sense, but it's also really dull, the fact that, like, oh, crazy giant mountains, and then, there's an island over there. And it also makes sense in terms of the fact that, like, oh, actually, yeah, there's like a fixed border too. Like, you can barely see it, but like as we're moving along it, you can see how like something on one side generates, something on the other side generates. But let's see what happens with our existing world. This is the bit where it gets really exciting, because again, there's always going to be a border around the edge of your Minecraft world in most places. Except, I know I just said we're going to get to the regular thing, but look at the very south of my map. Do you see that ice there? Sorry, do you see that like snow there? Do you see the ice below that snow? I do, and I'm curious, because it should be like higher up or something, if that creates some serious issues with the ice again, or if maybe that was a one-time thing, or if it creates even bigger issues. Let's find out. So the ice, as you can see, oh, it does the exact same thing, but this time it's not even going on to something. It's just like, you know what, we have some blocks there, let's raise them up and let's make them look like a mountain, which I think that's clearly designed so that if we had blocks below the ice, which we don't, they would go down, and that's how they make the mountain format. So they worked on like, you know, clearly like a copy-paste mountain thing, which is actually kind of genius, but it means, again, in theory, we can generate our own mountains and put them at the edge of our world, and this is maybe why blocks like these ice things here, right here, are raised the way they are. So, fascinating little thing, but let's see what happens as the old Minecraft world hits the new one. So, you can see amplified into regular. All along it, it's just kind of like losing its big dramatic emphasis. Just a random point right here, which goes to nothing. The spike thing seems to be true right here as well. I was thinking, oh my god. So this tree right here has been stretched across this mountain. So there's just random birch blocks attached to it everywhere. Yeah, you can see how there was a birch tree with all of its leaves, you know, attached normally. But because this is like taking one layer, pushing it up 10 blocks, taking another layer, pushing it up 10 blocks, we have birch trees, which are just kind of, oh, and then there's the mountain behind it. This, which again, mountain must have been done in some weird way, with a hole in it. And that hole has turned into this weird mosaic-y thing. So, fun fact, if you have like half a generated birch mountain, you can do crazy stuff like this. You can see this all along the place actually, because this is a forest, but it's an amplified forest. The whole thing is just something they didn't properly plan for. So we have like trees going weird along the edge. But let's see all of it. Let's see if like there's any like redeeming, like amazing features. Because I love the way this is generating. I love the fact that it's raising up the blocks, and I love that we now know we can kind of abuse that if we want to create some wacky, crazy terrain that we, you know, just wouldn't be able to be possibly generated on console. So keep that in mind. If you want to create a world that's really strange and convert it across the versions, just have lots of blocks at the edge of your world or the edge of your built chunks. You can't really do it at the edge of your built chunks because you'll build into new chunks, but the edge of your Minecraft world where you cannot get any more chunks, all you have to do is place some blocks there, and they'll be raised up, and you can do really strange looking stuff. Again, I feel like building something like this, let's go back to it, that thing over there by hand would be near impossible, but building it on the old or building something on the old version that you know would convert like this in the new version must be fairly easy, and would be, I think it's going to be a pretty fun thing that you might want to do. So yeah, as you can see, if we just go all the way back to where we were before, actually, I'm not sure. Okay, I think this is the port. Yeah, so if you want to go all the way back to here, you can see how like weird gaps in terrain turn into like this. And personally, I find that fascinating because this should mean in theory. Oh look, you can you can go all the way down it too. There's like a little gap hole all the way into the ground. It's kind of dark down here actually. Let's grab ourselves a potion. But the fact that all of this happens, right, is kind of cool. And so let's grab ourselves a potion just in the equipment. Night vision is all I need in life. So there we go. Grab a night vision. And you can see how, like, even deep in the ground, it looks like this same thing's happening. There's just random block gaps, And yeah, I guess they had to do it that way, and they just hoped people wouldn't notice. I don't know why they didn't fill stuff like this in, though. Maybe they wanted to keep spaces intact, but the fact that there's just this weird... I know, it makes no sense to me. It's wacky, but it's a thing you can get on the old to new versions everywhere, it seems. So yeah, I'm gonna do. I want to do some like next level experiments. If you guys want to see them, let me know if you want to see like me creating weird stuff like this intentionally on the old console version. With a like on the video, share if you really liked it, and leave a comment down below if you want to see that also. Because again, I really love the idea, but again, maybe everyone's just been looking at this and you're like, Soy Cat, that was interesting. I now know about the world, but I don't care about these weird glitches. That's just you being a seed guy. I'd love to know what you think. But for now, I'll see you all in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye.